All right, so let's get started with this. So the Seattle Seahawks were outright favorites to win this game this past Sunday evening, and for most of the game, it looked as if that outcome would be inevitable. The Arizona Cardinals did not have a lead for 1 second of this game. While the Seahawks are known for never having a blowout win or loss, they always keep it close. That was not a game that the fans expected Russell Wilson to lose. Now, Russell Wilson's known for his ability to come in the clutch, and in the final minutes of the Seahawks game, he did not seem to do so. Who is to blame for the final minutes of the Seahawks defeat?
Well, I mean, I would probably say there are a number of reasons. First off, the penalties. In the end of regulation, you had the Seahawks up by 10 points with about 3 minutes left, or over 3 minutes left, and they forced the Cardinals to kick They forced the Cardinals to kick a field goal, which would have made it tougher for the second score, because the second score would have been a touchdown. Benson Mayowa was called for leaping over the line and using his hands to jump over the line. So instead of taking the field goal, they took the points off the board that allowed the Cardinals to score a touchdown on that same drive, and it made it easier for them to tie the game at the end of regulation with the field goal. So the penalty on Benson Mayowa was huge. I'd also say a penalty in overtime period when it looked like they had won the game, when David Moore was called for holding on what would have been a game-winning touchdown by DK Metcalf. So penalties were a big reason. And then you also have to take a look at the play calling as well. I mean, they essentially took the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands in the last few minutes of that game, going run, when the rest of the game, I mean, he had 50 pass attempts throughout the game. And they ended up going run on that one drive to try and milk the clock. They were unable to get the first down, which could have ended the game right then and there. So a number of reasons for the loss. At the end of the day, when you have a 10-point lead with 3 minutes left, you probably should win the game. Then again, the Seahawks have had really, really close wins so far this year as well. So they could be anywhere from 2-6 or 2-4 to 6-0. And so 5-1, all in all, is not a bad record. Pretty happy with that, but not the way they lost on Sunday night.
Now, speaking of the way they lost, the Seattle defense, particularly at secondary, is historically bad this season, allowing Kyler Murray to have his best game of the year thus far. Keep in mind, he played the Jets earlier this year, and the Jets defense even played better than the Hawks against the Cardinals. Now, they were without Jamal Adams for this game, but no one player can make a unit go from worst to first by himself. Who's to blame for this particular disappointing unit? Is it defensive coordinator Ken Norton, or is it just a lack of talent all around and lack of depth behind Jamal Adams?
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of a lack of talent on this defense. I mean, listen, you have former All-Pro linebacker Bobby Wagner, and you also have KJ Wright there. Of course, Jamal Adams has been out. You're talking about an historically bad defense when it comes to the first 6 games of a regular season. No defense in NFL history has given up the number of yards that the Seahawks defense has through the first 6 games of a season. So it's not just one player. Obviously, Jamal Adams will help when he comes back. Hopefully that's this week against the 49ers. He's really close. I would also say that the lack of a pass rush has certainly been a huge burden on the Seahawks so far this year, because they only have 9 total sacks. I believe they're on pace for 23 total sacks for the season. They had 28 last year, and they were second worst in the league. It would be the worst number of sacks under Pete Carroll for a season if it was less than 28 this year. Fortunately, they went out and they traded for Carlos Dunlap earlier today, trading B.J. Finney and also for a conditional draft pick going forward. So hopefully Dunlap will help the defense, but he's not going to be available this week for the 49ers, so we'll see what happens the rest of the year.
Well, thank you. And lastly, I just wanted to quickly discuss Russell Wilson and his surprisingly poor performance overall. Now, Wilson doubled his interception total this past weekend, throwing 3 against an average Arizona secondary. One of the picks came from rookie Isaiah Simmons, who only played 5 snaps the entire game. Should we be expecting to see a regression this year from Wilson in his age 31 campaign, or was this game just a fluke?
I would say it's just a fluke. When you take a look at his overall numbers for the season, 22 touchdown passes, just 6 interceptions. Yeah, he had 3 of them the other night, and a couple of them were pretty bad. A couple of those touchdown passes were pretty darn good also, though. You take a look at the moon ball all the way to Tyler Lockett. It was an absolute dime. So he tried to force things a couple of times, but he's on pace for, I believe, 58 or 59 passing touchdowns for a season, which would shatter the single season touchdown pass mark. I believe that was set by either Patrick Mahomes the other year with 50, or somebody has 52, Peyton Manning. So, listen, he's, I'd say, still a top runner for the MVP award. The last 3 times that a quarterback has thrown 22 touchdown passes to the first 6 games of a season, I believe was Peyton Manning in 2003, Brett Favre in 1996, and Tom Brady in 2007. All 3 of those other quarterbacks were named league MVP that season, and all 3 of those teams made it to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it was a little disappointing for those 3 interceptions, including the one in overtime the other night by Russell Wilson. But overall, he's played pretty phenomenally this season. I don't see any regression at 31 years old.
All right. Thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate your time, and we'd love to have you on in the future. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for watching the Blitz Talk Show. It would really mean a lot to us if you would like, comment, subscribe down below. Most of all, we hope to see you guys in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much. Have a good one.